So, Chris Chibnall, the social justice workers turned on you too. Were you really surprised? I guess you were. Well, hello guys, welcome, or if you've already seen my channel before, welcome back. I'm the Philadelphia Whovian, and now we're going to be talking about that thing I dread talking about, but it just sucks me back in every now and again. Series 11 of New Who. And now there's a recent article out about the complaint about what was the main problem with Series 11 of New Who. And it would be about the last thing you would expect to be about when it comes to you thinking, oh, this is your problem. But it is the first thing that, of course, you should have thought they would have worried about. Because with this regime, they're now confronting of, like, yes, this pioneering of the Doctor being female, etc. and so forth, to the point where nothing masculine is safe. You should have seen this coming. And I read the article. I can't remember who wrote the article, but I definitely read it. By another social justice person commenting on Doctor Who. And here's the problem with Series 11. The problem is, I am not lying, read the article, there was too much focus on men. I love how this will segue right into my other series of videos of why I, a girl, like the Doctor being a male. Because this was actually going to be part 7 of that series of videos. I'm going to segue into that in a moment. But the problem they're saying is that, like, you know, characters like, here we have a female Doctor, that should have been awesome, that should have been cool, but what do we get instead? We get the only cool aspects of the show are the focusing on Graham. He is the most fleshed out of all the characters. This is a prime example of the political agenda or political correct, you know, group that is overseeing, like, you know, all this idea of, yes, the Doctor being a woman, awesome, and like this, you know, social justice workers and all that. This is a prime example of how these people never actually cared about the show Doctor Who, or did not even fully know the show Doctor Who. They came into this caring about ideas, caring about causes and changes, but not the actual show itself, to the point where they don't even know the actual show itself. Because Graham, yes, he is, from the little bit of Series 11 I saw, he is one of the best parts of the show and the most fleshed out. This is indeed true. But when you really think about it, how is his fleshing out as a character more than the fleshing out of Rose Tyler's character in Series 1 and 2, Martha's character in Series 3, Donna's character in Series 4, Amy's character in 5, 6, and 7, and Clara's character from Series 7 to Series 9, as well as the fleshing out of Bill's character. All of these characters, all of these companions, these female companions, were completely fleshed out, and a lot of the focus was on them in one way, shape, and or form. When you really think about it, how is any of the development put into Graham different than those women? There actually is none. In fact, let's go back to a time where there was a similar complaint to this, but not when it came to the Doctor, it came to when it came to the companion. In Series 7, Part 2, a lot of people were complaining about, oh, how Clara Oswald is not a developed character, we don't know her, there's not enough focus on her, and I was one of the few people who was like, I like her and it just fine. I don't want all the focus to be on Clara. I want it to be about Clara and the Doctor together on adventures. I want adventures. I like adventures. That's what I care about. People were all complaining about Clara not being built as a character enough. Then Series 8 rolls around, and then she gets a lot more character development. At this point, though, many people still were not satisfied. I can't explain why. That's the way the climate was at the time. Either way, we have repeated times, we have a Doctor with a companion, and the companions at some point in some way, shape, or form are completely fleshed out, sometimes more than the Doctor is. That was okay there, But now we have a male companion, and your complaint is too much focus was on him and not on the doctor herself. So basically, what you now got is, let's be honest, I'm just going to break it down for you. In case you still have not seen the problem here with this concept is, the truth is, the social justice working world will not be happy until men are practically removed from the equation completely. That's what's really happening. I know you are not going to believe me, and trust me, sorry, I hit my camera. You're not going to believe me or trust me, but this is something I prognosticated from the very beginning. If you looked at my videos about why I, a girl, like the doctor being a male, I was worried about the idea of when it came to the doctor being a female, this was not going to make them stop, and they would not be happy until the show was fully female dominated, where men were not even allowed to fully have identities or be allowed to be identified with as characters. The social justice working world will always find something to complain about and gripe about, because complaining and griping is all they know to do, even when there is nothing to complain and gripe about. All they know is what they do not like, therefore they shall never know what they fully do like. But above all, trust me, that side, that branch, that community of those going for social justice, what they are not asking for is equality, they're asking for dominance. To the point where, I promise you, they will not fully be happy until only the females are fully developed. Only females are given everything that is made. Only if the females are allowed to be right all the time. All of these things, they will not be fully satisfied until you have all of that. I know you think I'm paranoid, but trust me. I've seen this before. I've seen this in working environments, but I've seen it in the real world in more extreme ways than you think there would be. In fact, this is how it began when it comes to the idea of the Holocaust. And I know you're thinking, oh my god, I'm bringing the Holocaust into this. I'll show you how in a second. You think it's going to be extreme. It's not going to be extreme. I'm just showing you how extreme something can get. Okay. When it came to the idea of Hitler rising to power in Germany, there were many Jews who were happy with what he was doing with Germany, but they really were, it's just a shame that, he did not like them as people. But there were other Jews who were warning the Jews, saying, hey, he is hostile to us. Get out. We have to all get out. And they weren't listening. They said, oh, no, it's going to blow over. What are you talking about? You're being irrational. This is extremism you're talking about. You're wrong. This was a thing. I know you're not going to believe me, but this was a thing. There were some people, some few, who prognosticated and foretold what would happen when Hitler rose to full power and he became fully the Führer. They warned people, saying, hey, he is taking over. He is going to ruin everything. And people, including Jewish people, were like, no, it's going to blow over. What are you talking about? We're fine. Everything's going to be fine. You're being extreme. And look what happened. Look what happened. That is... You think I'm giving you an extreme example? No, it's not. What I'm showing you is how this can snowball in any situation. Be in a social setting, or in a political setting, or in a, everyday interaction setting, in a work environment. If you give a mouse a cookie, it's going to want a glass of milk. If you want dominance here, you're not going to be satisfied until you get dominance in every single gamut. You are going to the point where you're going to shaft out anyone who does not fit a part of your standard and your regime. It's going to happen. I know you're not going to believe me, but trust me, that was my part 7 of my Why a Girl Like the Doctor being male. Because I was worried that if a woman came in, then it was going to be all about the woman being the center of everything, to the point where men would not be allowed to be the center of anything. With this article, it shows how, I'm sorry, but I did have a point. I did. I did not know how to voice my point because I was worried that I was going to come across as paranoid, or as, frightening, or as overbearing, or as wrong. But this is my fear the entire time, and look what happened. We now got an article that's saying Series 11, we got a female doctor, but now still too much focus on men. The main male character was put out of the equation. Now we have a female where a man was, but still it's too much focused on men. Sometimes people will not stop until they have complete dominance over something. And also, this segues further into something I always had a problem with. I had a feeling when it came to social justice working that no matter what Chibnall did, how he did it, he was always going to make them unhappy because there's no way to make them happy. But this goes back to a long-standing running problem that I first noticed in the novel Pride and Prejudice. Pride and Prejudice, how does this connect to this conflict, to this problem, this crisis here? Pride and Prejudice is a very misunderstood book, because Pride and Prejudice is a book that people label as just a romance, but it's so much more than that. And I'm going to tell you about this one conversation that gets misconstrued when it came to Mr. Darcy, Mr. Bingley, Elizabeth Bennet, and Caroline Bingley talking about what an accomplished woman is when it comes to society. Okay, when Mr. Bingley talked about how all young ladies are so accomplished, Mr. Darcy replied back of, "Your list of the common extent of accomplishments has too much truth. The word is applied to many a woman who deserves it no otherwise than by netting a purse or covering a screen. But I am very far from agreeing with you in your estimation of ladies in general. I cannot boast of knowing more than half a dozen in the whole range of my acquaintance that are really accomplished." "Nor I, to be sure," replied Miss Bingley. "Then," Elizabeth said, "you must comprehend a great deal in your idea of an accomplished woman." "Yes, I do comprehend a great deal in it," said Mr. Darcy, and then Miss Bingley replied, "Oh, certainly. No one can be really esteemed accomplished who does not greatly surpass what is usually met with. A woman must have a thorough knowledge of music, singing, drawing, dancing, all the modern languages, to deserve the word. And besides all this, she must possess a certain something in her air and manner of walking, the tone of her voice, her address and expressions, or the word will be but half deserved." Mr. Darcy added, "All this she must possess, and to all this she must yet add something more substantial, in the improvement of her mind by extensive reading." Elizabeth said, "I am no longer surprised at you knowing only 6 accomplished women. I rather wonder now at you knowing any." And Mr. Darcy replies, "Are you so severe upon your own sex as to doubt the possibility of all this?" And Elizabeth replies, "I never saw such a woman. I never saw such capacity, and taste, and application, and elegance as you describe united." And Mrs. Hurst and Miss Bingley both cried out against this injustice and saying they met many women who were like this. This gets misconstrued because Miss Bingley and Mrs. Hurst, her sister, think that this is Elizabeth Bennet putting the female species down, saying we cannot accomplish this. That's not what Elizabeth was doing. What she was doing was she was saying, by you placing women on this pedestal of what we should be to be an accomplished woman, there can never be an accomplished woman, because no woman can acquire all this in herself. She can never fully reach this height that you want her to be at, but you will never be satisfied with a woman until she gets to that height. This is something we writers have met with all the time as writers. We never write the correct woman because there is no right way to write the correct woman, because people's idea of what a woman is so ideal, so high up, it cannot be reached as us writers. It can never fully be accomplished. We will always have done something wrong when it comes to writing the female, because she does not reach that plateau and cover all the criteria of what a woman should be. Therefore, we did not do justice to her. That was the main problem. That was going to be my final reason why I, a girl, like the Doctor being a male, because I've always seen, time and time again as a writer, there is no such way as writing the perfect woman in our modern world, because there is no way you can write the perfect woman, because there's always going to be someone saying that's not what women are, what women should be, and that's not how a woman should be ideal. There's always going to be some way she is wrong in some way, and you, the writer, failed women and all of the female species because you wrote her in the way that you did. Chibnall, they were always going to turn on you. And I know you're probably still thinking you have it good with the social justice world. You do not. They will never be satisfied, trust me, fully satisfied until they have complete control over everything and anything, regardless of caring about the product that they claim to be caring about. And you're not going to believe me. You're all going to think I'm paranoid, but I've seen this all before, time and time again. I've seen these arguments. They never end well. Now you know my last reason why I wanted, there's still another reason why, I'll get to that later in a different video, of why I did not like the doctor being a woman. I was afraid of her being a woman because I've seen these arguments before. No matter what you do when it comes to social justice workers, they will always find some way to say you did not do enough or you did it incorrectly. But hey, what do I know? Chibnall, I know you're not going to trust me or believe me, but my friend, you dug your own grave. I know you out there in the Whovian universe, some of you are thinking I'm being extreme or you're not going to believe me either. I've seen it all before, and I'll see it all again. So guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys again very soon. If you disagree with everything in my video, it's perfectly fine. We all have the right to agree and disagree with each other. This is not an objective place, it's a subjective place, a subjective place. Oh, it's my cat in the background, by the way. His name is Star. He's perfect. But, guys, I will always respect your views and your viewpoints and your right to disagree with me, as long as you respect my right to always disagree with you, agree and disagree peacefully. Thank you guys. Talk to you again very soon. Peace out! Star says goodbye.